Ms. Boyer and Ms. Fields, you've both brought the defendant, Mr. Sandifer, to court today to prove that he is your biological father, but you each believe that you are his only daughter and the other is not. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sandifer, you state you do not believe that either is your daughter, but actually hope that one is and one is not.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I will start with you, Ms. Fields. Yes. Ms. Boyer, you may have a seat. So, Ms. Fields, start from the beginning.
About 2 years ago, I sent him a message on Facebook asking him if I could borrow some money, and he responded with, maybe I need to find my real dad, that he wasn't even my father.
That's not true. I was upset, Your Honor, at that point in time because she just kept on aggravating me about money, and that's the only time I've ever heard from her is when it was money.
But you've never done anything for me. With me...
What do you mean I have never done anything?
You've never
for you?
done
I carried you to the park, I carried you to the fairs.
When?
You
all
don't
I remember
all
is you
this?
staying
You were
gone.
such a small child,
All I
you don't
remember is you
remember a
staying
lot
gone.
of things.
Mr. Sandifer, so you said you had been there for her whole life?
No, ma'am, not her whole life.
So you've been there in what capacity?
I would say half of it.
And you acted as a father?
No, he did not. He did not raise me.
I did the best I could as a father.
My grandparents raised me because my
All right, so
mother...
Mr. Sandifer,
they adopted you
Because I could not be financially supported.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Because you're not on my birth certificate. You didn't do anything for me, so why?
That's my case. I'm not on your birth certificate.
But
so
why?
Who is your father?
I don't know. If you're not, I don't know. But I've been led to believe my whole life that you're my father. You introduced me as your child. Why change now?
Why do you have doubts, specifically?
For one reason, Your Honor, my name's not on her birth certificate. She doesn't have no comparisons to me or any of my family.
You are my father. You are my father. I don't compare to you because you were never around me.
I have doubts, young lady.
All right, tell me about your childhood, Ms. Fields.
Growing up, I was, him and my mother were married from the time I was 4 till about the time I was 9.
This hurts you. It's okay.
I was adopted to my grandparents because my mother couldn't afford. She couldn't afford to take care of 3 children by herself. My grandparents stepped in to help me.
That's a lie right there.
Let her finish.
She couldn't. She was working at a bar in a burger place. She could not afford it. 3 children by herself. You didn't help.
Why should I help when I wasn't the father? I mean,
how did you know that you weren't the father? Why not get a DNA test then? Why not do it then if you had
to help? You didn't force it on me.
Why not do it? How old was I? You're the adult. I'm the child. How am I supposed to do this? You're the adult.
Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you ask? Why don't you ask?
Ms. Fields, continue on, please. I'm listening.
My grandparents, they adopted me. They did everything they could for me. They took care of me. They did more than what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and they pushed me out of the picture. That's why
because you were never in the picture. How could they push you out of the picture when you were never there to begin with?
Then why do you call other men dads all the time? Your mother's married right now,
because
and you're calling him dad.
I called him dad because he raised me from the time I was 13.
Girl, no, he didn't raise you.
He bought my senior
Then why do you always come to me for money and not them if he's your dad?
I go to them, but you're my father.
But you always say that he's come down.
You are supposed to do for me.
You are my father.
Introduce me as your child, then I should get what I need. I should get what I was told. You didn't do anything.
I find out that you're not.
Family, ladies, gentlemen, let's settle down a little bit because I do want to understand this. Ms. Fields, your childhood.
When I was 13 years old, January, my grandmother passed away, and right after that, I lost my grandfather. On my grandfather's deathbed, he specifically asked my dad if he would take care of his girls, stating me and my mom. He said yes. If he wasn't my father, why would he?
Your mother found another man in her life, so why
and
did I
he's
need
took
to
care
be
of
in
me,
the
so what does that mean?
Okay,
he's took care of me.
Okay, so Mr. Sandifer, did you date her mother? Did you have an intimate relationship with her mother?
Married.
Yes, Your Honor. Then she come up pregnant, and I was always told by friends that Samantha was my child, but when the baby was born, I was there.
Now wait, this is what I'm trying to understand. You said you were at the hospital, and were you there because you thought you were about to have a baby with her mother?
I was there for a friend.
You weren't even at the hospital?
Oh, as a friend?
Oh, yes, I was, and your mother had some other guy that she was dating at that time, but he was there, and he said, oh, I got me a new daughter, I got me a new daughter.
I don't remember this. I don't remember
Well, of course you did.
No,
you was a baby.
Yeah, you wouldn't remember that, Mr.
No.
Mr. Sandifer, there's another guy there.
Yes, Your Honor, there was.
And he was saying, I have another daughter, I have another daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
speaking about Miss Fields.
Yes, Your Honor.
My mother was good to you.
So
You stayed out
then
in
why
the bar.
were you there as a friend instead of as a potential or
Because
new
I
father?
didn't know if I was the father because she slept with so many different men.
So she slept with different men. You were the one that stayed in the bar looking for women. Every woman.
So what? And your mother was one of them.
She worked at a bar. She had 2 jobs to support me and
she
my
hung
sister.
out there afterward, too.
Okay, just because she hung out, does that mean she's sleeping with other people? You hang out at a bar, are you sleeping
Miss
with everybody in the
Fields?
bar?
If I get the chance.
He told the truth.
I guess he told that.
He's the womanizer. He's the
Miss
womanizer.
Fields, all your life you were told that Mr. Sandifer was your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And were you ever told that it could be someone else?
Never. Not until I was 23 years old, and he told me that on a Facebook message.
Tell me about your relationship with Ms. Boyer.
We don't have a relationship. We don't have a relationship like sisters should. Y'all have a lot better relationship than me and you do.
Of course, because I fought custody for her and everything.
And you would have never done that if it wasn't for
How could I when you was adopted out from under me, Samantha?
You weren't there before I was adopted out from under you. When I was 9 years old, you could have done something.
What did you want me to do?
Act like a father.
I was
do what
there
you had to
for
do
you.
to get
There was
custody
no
of your
other man
child.
in your life to be your father.
Do what you had to do to
I
get
took the
custody of your-
responsibility
Okay, you
to
didn't
man
take
up.
responsibility to man up when? When you were at the bar drinking?
I want to hear from Ms. Boyer. Please stand up, ma'am. Ms. Fields, you may take a seat. Thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Ms. Boyer,
Yes, Your Honor.
explain to the court why you're here today exactly.
I'm here today to prove that Mr. Sandifer is my father.
I have proof otherwise, Your Honor.
You have proof that she is not your daughter.
My name's not on the birth certificate.
I'd like to see that. Jerome, please hand me that evidence.
But Your Honor, he was in a relationship with my mother when I was born, and he lived with us till I was 5 years old.
This is a copy of Ms. Boyer's birth certificate.
The reason there is another man on my birth certificate, Your Honor, is because my mother was married and separated,
And told me I was the father.
but because she was still married back 30 years ago, you had to put your husband on the birth certificate.
Mr. Sandifer, you were there when Tuesday was born,
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Boyer?
Honor.
Were you there again as a friend, or were you
No,
there
I was
because
there
you
as
thought
the
you were the father?
I raised her for 8 years till me and her mother separated. I paid child support religiously. Then this child would call me up and tell me there's no food in the house. Mama's gone. We don't know where she's at. Bring me some money or some food. I called my lawyer, Your Honor. She says, next visitation, Mr. Sandifer, pick your daughter up and don't take her back. I said, well, I'm liable to go to jail. She said, don't worry about that. I'll get you out. So we went to court. The judge gave her mother 3 opportunities to show up.
She never showed up to court, to the
Never
court
showed
date.
up.
And you were awarded full.
Yes, Your Honor.
After that entire legal battle, did you believe Ms. Boyer was your biological child?
Not really, Your Honor, because I still have doubts just because of the paperwork.
If you're not my dad, why did you fight for me?
Because I love you and I manned up. Why did you leave me
I
when
went
I
to my
already had
grandmother.
custody and go back to your mother? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't go to my mother.
You did?
I went to
Atlanta,
my brother.
to Georgia?
When I went to visit him, though, when he
You were
brought
at
me
your mother's.
back, I was 14 years old.
Right.
We pulled up to the house, and the house was abandoned. There was no one there. Everything was gone. You had moved to California. I found that out by going to my grandmother's house.
That's wrong.
So
That's
I
wrong.
went back to
I
Georgia
come
with
and
my
picked
brother.
your butt up Tuesday.
Yes, that was after I had been there for almost 2 years.
Yeah, well, you decided you thought things were better on the other side living with her.
So,
I didn't want to
Ms.
move
Boyer,
to California.
ultimately, do you believe he abandoned you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have
do.
never abandoned you.
Just tell me how you feel.
Your Honor,
What do you feel?
when I was 10, he got a divorce, and I was left
You
with my
quit
grandmother.
school on me.
I quit school because I had no one to sign me up for school because you wouldn't sign over rights, so someone could sign me
Why
up
should
for
I
school.
sign over my rights?
Well, how could I go to school if no one could register me? But Your Honor, when he had a woman that had children, I was in his life. When there was a woman without children, I was left at my grandmother's.
You're an adult now, Tuesday.
Yes, but I have 3 kids that need you. They don't have another grandparent
you
in their
know
life.
I'm there at least twice a week.
Yes,
at least.
but you don't do things with them like you used to.
I work. I'm so tired, I barely have time for myself. I spend as much time as I can. You can't say that
Yes,
I don't.
But their
We
other
just went to
grandparents...
Huntsville just last summer.
Right, and they enjoyed that. But their
Carried them
other
to the Rocket
grandparents have
Center.
passed away, and they have no one else. They need you in their life. I need you in my life. Well, I believe you are my dad, and that's why I want to prove it. I mean, the difference between me and Samantha, okay, is I'm 5'1". She's 5'10". I look like him. She doesn't. And I mean, there's a picture of me and him when I was a child. That was right after he got custody of me.
That's such a cute picture.
Thank you, Your Honor. May not have been the best dad in the world, but I tried my darndest. I worked my butt off so hard and tried to do things for y'all when I can and when I can afford it.
I don't have an education.
So pretty much, Ms. Boyer, you blame him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you feel like this relationship or lack of relationship caused you to drop out of school.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's the last grade you completed?
7th grade.
So you're suing him for the cost of a GED program because you believe he owes that to you.
Something
Yes,
I already
Honor.
paid for?
That way I can help my kids with their homework.
So you believe he owes you another GED test because the last time he paid for it, you were so distressed because of your relationship, you were not able to effectively study and pass. And that's why you're suing him
Yes, Your
today
Honor.
for that.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm ready for the results. Jerome? Ms. Boyer, I will start with you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, when it comes to 31-year-old Tuesday Boyer, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Sandifer, you are not her father.
Oh, wow.
You okay, sir? You need to take a seat?
Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine.
I was sure he was my father.
God almighty. Sorry, Your Honor.
My kids need a grandparent, so I've got to find...
You got one. You got a father still. You still got a father.
I would love for you to be in their life.
Mr. Sandifer, did you really want to be Ms. Boyer's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry. Are you ready for the next result with Ms. Field?
I got you.
Yes, Your Honor.
These results were also prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, when it comes to 25-year-old Samantha Fields, the court has determined in the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, the court has determined Mr. Sandifer, you are not her father.
I presumed Samantha wasn't, but I never thought Tuesday would have. I'm still here for you, girls. Anytime. And your children's too. I'm still their grandfather.
Ms. Boyer, the basis of your suit was that your father, the man that raised you, was responsible for providing you with an education. And unfortunately, I cannot award you any money for an additional test because there have been no facts presented that he was at all negligent. Your claim is denied.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sandifer, you have indicated you will still be here for the girls and their children, and I think that's commendable.
Yes, Your Honor.
And ladies, take advantage of Mr. Sandifer's offer. Do the work and just help move forward. I think your dad could use a hug.
I'm sorry, girls. I'm so sorry.
Not the results that I expected at all.
I know.
Your mama's got some explaining to do.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, man.
I wish you every blessing and good luck. Ms. Nazarine, you are here today to sue your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Rami, for being an absentee father and a deadbeat dad. You say he has caused you and your 2 children much pain and suffering by never stepping up as their father. Mr. Rami, you claim Ms. Nazarine has done immeasurable damage to your life and career by her very difficult personality. Ms. Nazarine, when did your relationship with Mr. Rami begin to sour?
Okay, our relationship began to sour when I became pregnant, and
things had soured long before that. She's not the most easy person to deal with. There are definitely signs that were before she got pregnant.
When you say she's not the easiest person to get along with, what do you mean specifically?
Complete irrationality. The decision to be overtly angry, volatile, and violent for things that I consider to be less than important.
like rape.
Very verbally and physically abusive.
Is that true, Ms.
No,
Nazarine?
it's absolutely not true. He and I have had one incident where he stole $500 from me and had me and my baby in a car that had a steering column that fell. Okay, so for the time that we were together, we were artists, and I was young, he was young, and he was my best friend. We tried to reconcile. He never. To this day, he's not kept a job. This man has spent 17 and 15, almost 16 years ignoring his children while trying to pursue a rap career, okay? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Not trying to pursue his GED, not trying to get a high school diploma, not trying to go to college. I put myself 90 hours, 90 units through college, raising 3 children on my own. I've always done hair. I've always worked, okay? This man does nothing.
Mr. Rami, is any part of this that she's saying true?
The fact that we might have some children together and that we spend a short period of time enjoying each other's company. Outside of that, can't really co-sign anything else.
What level of effort have you put forth to take care of the children?
Well, first of all, she decided to move to the other side of the country without talking to me about it.
Have you provided steady support?
Well, it depends on what steady is. No, I haven't sent a check every 2 weeks. No, I haven't. But when I've had a job, I have sent help. Whenever she's hit me up and asked for money, if I was able to
yes, every
help,
once in a while he sent $100. Yes, absolutely. Over the past 17 and 16 years, he paid child support when he was with his ex-second wife.
Okay, so being a father goes beyond just financial support. You know that. How about the emotional support? What about that?
If she wouldn't have taken my children to Georgia from Los Angeles where we had them, I would have been there.
Okay, so what happened to me being 7 months pregnant with a 1-year-old and you were gone for 3 years? Truth be told.
There was an incident. I was asked to bring the car to her because she had Messiah with her. Can you bring the car to Tarzana from Los Angeles? I tell her, no problem. I would love to do that for you. So, actually, what's funny is I'll tell you this story because it's more recent. I have a list.
Tell me something.
I have a list of text messages. Just to give you an example. Just to give you an example of what I've had to deal with. My brother's oldest child and only son just died. He just turned 21, died on his in his birthday month.
And I also called called you when you told me that and let you know I had a $700 electric bill and your son needed to go to summer school so that he could graduate on time. So I don't care about your brother's son. You don't care about your own son. Why would I care about your brother's son? Keep it 100. Keep it 100.
So during this time, she sends a list of text messages saying that it's nice to know that we care about the dead more than the living.
Yeah, let the dead bury the dead. I said it and I mean it.
Now, are these the text messages that you submitted to the court?
Yes.
Can you read them to me?
And I mean every last one of them.
We are sure happy to know your sorry, trifling family cares more about the dead than the living. And I will never forgive you, monsters. You will get exactly what you evil people deserve. I ain't downplaying.
I'm not.
You trying to make me lose my youth because you're a deadbeat. I'm ready to smash you, monsters. Your family does not care about us because we're too black-skinned. You have to be a big, fat, yellow hoe to get love
and, I mean it.
And care.
And that's the truth.
Ms. Nazarine, those words were pretty harsh.
And I meant every one of them.
Weren't they in reference to them burying a young person? Did you say 21 years old?
No, they were
the
not
first
in
grandchild.
No,
yes.
They were not in what they were in response to. I had talked to him a week before that. I talked to him, and he told me that he was going to help me get my son in summer school, which he has not, which my son has not been able to take summer school, and help me pay some bills.
But see, what I'm hearing from you, Miss Nazarine, and look, take this from me because I mean it earnestly. If you want this man to be involved in his kid's life, you've got to sometimes, at least sometimes, present yourself as a person that somebody would want to be around.
Okay,
I mean, you're a beautiful lady, and I'm keeping it real with you.
He doesn't need to be around me.
There is no way you can send a text message about somebody burying someone that's
not what the message was about.
You
the message
accuse
was about
them
my son.
of caring more about a dead child than a living child.
They care about all of those children because they're
unnecessary. That wasn't a necessary comparison.
Okay,
listen. That was an unnecessary comparison. And let me tell you something really real. You stooping too low because you're not a dumb lady.
Oh, I know.
You are hurt. What I'm saying to you is you are now stooping to the lowest of low because what you really are is hurt. And I'm trying to tell you right now, the court is trying to tell you right now that it's okay to just say, that hurt me. If they needed to bury this child, well, fine, then you deal with him on the level of your children on a different day. But you gotta be a big enough woman to let the family do that.
Okay, and I did.
Mr. Rami.
Yes, ma'am.
When you stand here, there's a little smirk and the body language is a little sarcastic. I'm having trouble trying to digest why you're so cavalier as we speak about little people that you have made.
Oh, I've never tried to act like I was anything other than what I am, which is...
What are you?
A loser. A loser.
No, I'm being honest. He says he's being... I want him to tell me.
I am a writer.
And so am I. And I still do hair, and I still work.
She made her decision to be with me with that information.
Really?
Okay.
Now, I've never acted like I was going to go get a job that was going to provide me with a raise and with upward mobility so I can be somebody that's making $100,000 a year. My personal opinion is the fact that we can make this happen. A whole lot of people live very well, modestly, and are able to raise children. Now, you can't do that when you're dealing with somebody that's completely irrational. Now, look, I can't do it. The reason that it all really fell apart, if you want to know, I was taking the car out to Tarzana. I mean, even if you look at this, if you look at
this car would go somewhere.
Listen,
what happened?
I would like to finish if I don't get interrupted over and over again.
Tell me.
I take the car out there. When I drop it off,
why did you get the car?
She decides
Nazarine, if I don't find out what's wrong with this car and what's wrong with you two, I cannot help get this thing better, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did the car go?
It's not about the car at all.
Tell me what happened.
So when I take the car there, she wants to have a discussion with me. She wants to yell and argue with me.
Okay.
I'm not going through that anymore. So I tell her that I'm leaving. At this point, I'm living with my parents. Not quite sure how she heard my statement of I'm leaving, but she decided to punch me in the face.
Lie. That's a lie.
And
that's a lie.
After she punched me in the face, the exact quote, I'll never forget it, which was, hit me.
He's a liar.
So the bottom line is this turned
After this-
physical from your perspective? You're denying all of this.
What I'm saying is, he keeps on starting at bringing the bug back. The bug was freshly painted.
Oh gosh, is this car again?
I'm not talking about the car.
Because
Part of the fact is when I went out there, she beat me up and held me hostage.
He stole $500 from me, and we almost died in the car.
Anymore, I care about kids. Mr. Rami, you know you got 2 kids out here in this world, but you know you need to be helping to support them, and you should have been helping to support them.
And as I've said over and over again,
You do.
she took my
He's a
children
liar.
to
Let
Georgia.
me have another if somebody let me talk, they might learn something. What I also get from you, though, is part of what you said today is true. Ms. Nazarine is difficult.
And I have every right to be dealing with a deadbeat who abandoned me with 1 baby and a 7 month in the womb.
Did I ask you to let me finish?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. She's difficult, but I'm a mother, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want to see the day that the father of my child tries to come up short for my baby. It's not gonna happen. If there's anything that's gonna infuriate a mother, it's for somebody to give a mediocre effort when it comes to their kids. You gotta respect that. So her frustration and her hurt is that you can stand there looking as handsome and as smart as you can be and say, I never promised her anything, I'm a writer.
A fool, that's what you are, a straight fool.
And excuse my English, because I was an English major too, but I gotta break it down with a double negative. Don't nobody wanna hear nothing, that's a triple negative, about writing when we're talking about money to help support
And that's perfectly
the
fine,
kids.
Judge, but at the same
So,
time, she took
Mr.
my
Rami,
children away.
That's a lie. I've been successful at taking care of my children without your help. You need to be a father to your children. And if you're not going to be and you want to sit here and deny and play all these games with your children, that's why they're not here. That's what you need to know. Your children don't appreciate you standing there playing games when you know for a fact both of these are your children. Let's not be ridiculous, number 1. Number 2, I told you to keep it clean and don't lie. You've done
Ms.
nothing
Nazarine,
but lie.
I do have to ask you because you brought them up. And they are old enough now to know. Do they feel that their father neglects them, or do they feel like they would want to have more of a relationship if you two could possibly just try to put your dislike for each other aside and let them have a moment?
This is what I've heard from my children. My son, he just, in my opinion, doesn't feel like this man loves or cares for him or his sister. And then my daughter said she's embarrassed that her father refuses to work. She's embarrassed that he's a wannabe rapper, almost 40. Him and I having a friendship, never gonna happen because he's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he thought that he was gonna come to my city where I was born and defame me. And all you're doing is making yourself look like a fool.
You two don't have to be friends. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably best for you two to have.
Never, ever.
I'm telling you, very little to do with one another on a personal level. I do not see reconciliation in this picture.
No.
However, I do see 2 people who I know are intelligent enough to understand this. You have got to love the children more than you hate each other.
I don't hate him.
You have to.
I refuse
and you
to
don't
hate.
even hate him.
I refuse to hate. He's a hater.
Well, you have
He's
to
a jealous
love
hater.
the children more
Jealous.
than you dislike him.
I don't even really dislike the
Well,
fact
I'll give
that
you
he's a
another
liar.
since you got to look, Miss
And a
Nazarine. What I
loser.
love with women like you is you got to answer to everything I say, and yet your situation ain't figured out. If you love the kids the way you say you do, stop
There's no if.
talking
There's no
and
if.
give them room. So maybe this man will just spend some time with them, and they can have a
And
relationship.
he's never been denied that. So
You are
that's
intelligent
that's your
and
opinion.
you have children. You
And
don't
I
have
take
to
good
keep
care of them.
barking and barking. Everybody knows you take care.
talk to this
Raise your
person.
hand in this room if you don't think she took care of her kids by herself. Turn around. Turn around. Who's raising their hand? Nobody. Because everybody in this room knows he didn't do anything. But the problem is if he's ever going to do something, you have got to pipe down enough to receive it.
Can I say this in my own defense?
Yes.
Let me say something in my own defense.
We know you did it
in my
all.
own defense. This is the first time in 17 17 years that I've ever been face to face with this issue. So you can say that I'm ranting and this and that, but I'm getting out a 17-year story in one sitting. He plays to our son and tries to neglect our daughter and treats her crazy, okay? You never denied Messiah ever until today.
And I'm ready. I've heard enough and I'm ready to make my ruling. I appreciate what you're saying. And like I said, I hear and feel the hurt. And a part of me feels like I could just let you go on all day because I want you to get the rant out, because when it's out, I want you to be able to leave it on the table so that he's heard everything you want him to know. And then I want you to look at him and say, when are you coming to see your kids?
I texted him yesterday.
This is what I'm saying. And then I want you, Mr. Rami, to answer definitively, when can you visit with your kids?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
Which will probably happen tomorrow.
And no, it's going to happen if I allow it.
If
so
she
you might want to
allows
make some arrangements.
This is what I've had to deal with this whole time.
Oh, absolutely. Those are my children,
What I've had to deal with the whole time.
Oh, please, you're a liar. I brought
Including
those children
phone calls.
every weekend. You need to stop your lying. I brought them to you every other weekend and brought food because you couldn't even feed them.
If you know this man, if you really ever knew him, you would know, and nothing you say bothers him. I mean, I am looking at this man.
Him. That's why he got ulcers. It bothers him.
Nothing you're saying is bothering him. I'm going to wrap this up because I can see right now this isn't about the kids.
Oh,
this isn't about the kids.
Good.
This isn't about the
Good.
kids
Sounds
because
good.
this is about condemning him to the point
No, it's
where
not.
the whole
It's
world
about
feels like he's a piece of potato. I want to suggest this. Let's get some order. This is not going to end today, and this is much deeper than this court can solve in this one session.
Good.
I want you to consider, just like you may consider letting him see the kids tomorrow.
I would like you to come, but it can be before the 28th when we leave. You can definitely see them.
I am
my
done
family
listening to the rant, Miss Nazarine.
I'm telling you the truth. I don't have to rant.
I would like you all to consider, along with your kids, if they will do it, family counseling, and this court will provide the resource, because my concern is that out of love and protection for your kids, you are doing the exact opposite of what you should be doing. You're angry and you're trying to protect them, but you're really pushing away the person that they've stated to you they do want a relationship with. You may not like him. He might not be paying the money. He may not be doing the right thing. But Ms. Nazarine, there's more to being a father than just the money. If he just wants to see him and they want to see him.
Georgia, he came to my home. He was in my home. He's had every address that I've ever lived at.
Can he see them tomorrow?
Can he see them tomorrow? He can see them tomorrow as long as I don't have to orchestrate it, and as long as he takes the real sincere effort, because I've been the one always making the arrangements, always making sure.
Will you make that effort to see them tomorrow?
Yes.
I don't care if look, you're a writer, but don't write too much on the text.
Good. Yes, tomorrow. That's what I want.
Just say, hey, what time? That's it. Don't start an argument.
I don't.
Hey, what time? And then if you could just give him a time, nothing else, and then you just say, I'll be there, and then
I have my hat.
Be there. Can you do that?
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Thank you.